At the 2025 Mecca Summit, leaders of Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan finalized an extension to their military cooperation across 3 distinct regions. The agreement solidifies a defense pact between 3 of the most heavily armed nations in the Islamic world, binding a Middle Eastern economic powerhouse, an ambitious regional heavy hitter, and a nuclear-armed South Asian state. The core of this new treaty rests on a single, highly specific legal clause. The official document dictates that any armed attack against one of these 3 states shall be regarded as an attack against all of them. The phrasing mirrors Article 5, the founding principle of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. By adopting this exact collective deterrence language, international observers have branded the trilateral agreement the Islamic NATO. On paper, this clause creates a unified multinational military force, with a footprint stretching from the Mediterranean Sea to the Himalayas. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett warned that this new alignment poses a severe danger to regional stability. According to Bennett's assessment, Turkey is acting as the primary architect, engineering a unified Sunni military axis, backed by the leverage of Pakistan's advanced nuclear arsenal. In New Delhi, the implications are equally complex. Targeted military operations to eliminate terrorist camps across the Pakistani border now carry the technical risk of triggering a diplomatic and military response from 2 separate Middle Eastern powers. Regional threat calculations have shifted, as localized border skirmishes now carry the potential to involve foreign capitals with significant financial resources. While the pact is marketed through shared ideology, the actual motivations of these 3 nations suggest a foundation of transactional extraction rather than a shared military burden. Pakistan's military requires Saudi capital to fund its defense expenditures. Saudi Arabia, facing threats from Iran, seeks the psychological shield of Pakistan's nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Turkey looks for any avenue to expand its political dominance across the region. These divergent goals run directly into the history of modern military alliances. In recent years, joint defense pacts have routinely failed the moment they are actually tested. During the recent conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Russia ignored its legal treaty obligations under the CSTO, providing 0 military support to its ally, despite the defense pact on record. Unless a nation's own physical survival is immediately at stake, political leaders rarely send their citizens to die in a foreign conflict just to honor a signature. Beyond political will, the sheer logistics of warfare expose the most glaring flaw in this coalition. Alliances that project rapid military power rely on shared land borders. The partnership between Russia and North Korea works because they can move heavy artillery and troops directly across their shared frontier. Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey are separated by thousands of miles of hostile territory, bordered by rival nations that prohibit foreign troop movements. Without a contiguous land border, rescuing Pakistan in a crisis is functionally impossible, relying on highly vulnerable air and sea routes. In a full-scale conflict, the realistic contribution from Ankara or Riyadh would be restricted to financial aid, military technicians, or shipments of unmanned aerial vehicles. These geographic barriers effectively neutralize the threat of a unified superpower, leaving each nation to manage its own borders without realistic hope of heavy reinforcements. This raises a strategic question for New Delhi. Should India respond by signing a mirror defense pact of its own with a partner like Israel? Such a move would be reactionary. Entering Middle Eastern alliances would demand a state of constant military readiness that does not align with India's regional goals. India's objectives remain focused on domestic economic growth, elevating living standards, and steadily modernizing its independent defense manufacturing. By maintaining strategic indifference, India allows the opposing coalition to test the limits of its own internal tensions. This defense pact creates a specific, asymmetric vulnerability for Pakistan itself. Driven by financial desperation, Islamabad has legally bound its military to some of the most volatile conflict zones in the Middle East. If tensions between Iran and Saudi Arabia escalate, or if Turkey initiates a direct conflict with Israel, Pakistani troops are now legally required to bleed in those foreign wars. In exchange for offering up its soldiers to protect foreign interests, Pakistan receives financial bailouts, but gains no guarantee that Middle Eastern ground forces will ever arrive to defend its own territory. The Islamic NATO provides a clear advantage to Middle Eastern powers seeking security, but leaves Pakistan acting as a mercenary force for wars that are not its own.
If you value clarity over chaos, explore more on Clear Lens X.